If you felt the ground shake a little in the AI world today, you're not wrong. It was wild. In what has to be the most coordinated coincidence ever, both OpenAI and Anthropic dropped huge new coding models on the very same day. And just like that, the agent war has officially begun.
And this isn't just another small update. We are talking about a total paradigm shift here. We're literally watching these AI models evolve from being simple chatbots, you type a question, you get an answer, to becoming actual digital teammates. It's a whole new ballgame, and it happened overnight. Yep, that's what we're calling it, the agent war. Because this really is a fundamental change in how AI is being built. It's a new era, the rules have totally changed. So what even is an AI agent? What are we actually talking about here?
Okay, so think of it this way. An AI agent isn't a passive tool that just sits there waiting for your next command. No. This thing is proactive. It can actually operate a computer, use different software tools, run commands, and even check its own work for mistakes. It just keeps plugging away at these long, complicated tasks. That is the core idea driving this entire race.
All right, let's dive into the first contender, OpenAI. They came out swinging with GPT 5.3 Codex. And this model, well, it's a beast built specifically for developers, the people who live and breathe inside the command line and code editors all day long. This thing is all about pure, raw execution.
And the first thing they're shouting about, speed, a 25% performance boost. Now you might think, okay, 25%, what's the big deal? Well, for an AI agent, it's everything. Imagine an agent that has to think, run a tool, check the result, and then think again, over and over. Every millisecond counts. This speed up makes the whole workflow feel less clunky and way more fluid. It's a game changer for making these things actually usable in the real world. And this really shows their whole strategy. They're not just building a better coding tool, they're aiming for a true collaborator. Check this out. They added something called follow-up behavior. It's a setting that lets you jump in and steer the agent while it's working. You're not just waiting for a final answer anymore, you're part of the process. It's already live for users, but, and this is very telling, API access is being held back for safety checks. That tells you just how powerful they think this is.
And wow, the performance numbers really speak for themselves. Let's look at Terminal Bench 2.0. This is basically a test of how well the AI can handle a developer's command line, navigating folders, running programs. The old model was at 64%. The new one, 77.3%. That is a massive leap. It proves this new agent is way more capable of living and working in a developer's natural habitat.
But it gets even crazier when you look at OS World. This test measures how well the model can do tasks just by looking at a computer screen using vision. And look at that jump. It's now scoring almost 65%, which is creeping incredibly close to the human reference score of 72%. It's like having a virtual assistant that can actually see your screen and take over all the tedious desktop clicks for you.
In fact, its performance is so strong that this is the first OpenAI model to get an official high-capability label for cybersecurity. Why? Because it scored nearly 78% on hacking exercises called Capture the Flag. That was so high it triggered extra safety protocols and a very restricted pilot program. So the key takeaway here isn't just that it's a better coder, it's a potential digital guardian, or threat.
And Sam Altman really hit the nail on the head with this quote. He said the great thing about these agents is that they just don't run out of dopamine. They don't run out of motivation. And that's it, right? A human developer gets tired, gets frustrated, hits a wall. These agents, they just keep trying relentlessly. That persistence is their superpower.
Okay, quick detour from the agent wars for all you video creators out there. Higgsfield just integrated Kling 3.0 into their platform. That means you can now go from script to audio to images to a finished video with native lip sync and camera transitions all in one seamless workflow. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, back to the main event.
But OpenAI didn't get to enjoy the spotlight for long. Almost immediately, Anthropic fired back with their own heavy hitter, Claude Opus 4.6. And their approach, well, it's completely different. They're not focused on raw execution speed. They're playing another game entirely, one focused on massive context and, get this, collaborative teams of agents.
So, the headline feature for Opus 4.6? One number, 1 million. That's the token context window. It is just gigantic. To give you an idea, that's like feeding the AI the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy and asking it to remember a tiny detail from page 1. It allows the model to process huge code bases without forgetting key information along the way.
And this isn't just a vanity metric, some big number for a press release. It has a real-world impact.
On this benchmark, which tests how well an AI can find a specific fact in a huge document, Opus 4.6 scored 76%. The previous model, a dismal 18.5%. It went from being basically unable to find the needle in the haystack to finding it almost every single time.
And then there's this, which is just a wild concept. Anthropic is previewing something they call agent teams. The idea is that you can have multiple AI agents working together on the same project. It's like a mini digital software team. You could have one agent working on the website, another on the API, and a third handling the database, all coordinating with each other. It's a whole new way of thinking about AI development.
So these announcements obviously rocked the tech world, but the impact went way beyond that. It sent a massive shockwave straight through the financial markets. So how did Wall Street and the rest of the industry react to this sudden declaration of war?
Well, in a word, panic. A jaw-dropping $285 billion was wiped off the value of software and services stocks right after these announcements. The fear on Wall Street is palpable. Investors are looking at these agents and thinking, if these things can build and maintain software on their own, what happens to all the companies selling traditional enterprise software?
And this chart really shows you why the stakes are so incredibly high. Look, OpenAI still has a huge lead in enterprise adoption, at 77%. But check out Anthropic. Not too long ago, they were basically at 0. Now, they're at 44%. That is meteoric growth. The race to own the enterprise market is on, and it is heating up fast.
And you know the rivalry is getting serious when it spills out of the labs and into marketing. The gloves are officially off. We're hearing Anthropic is planning Super Bowl ads that basically poke fun at OpenAI. Of course, Sam Altman fired back, calling the claims funny and misleading. It's getting personal, and it's all happening out in the open.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We have two AI titans, two completely different playbooks for the future of coding. What's the final verdict here? Who has the edge?
It really boils down to two different philosophies. On one side, you have OpenAI. Think of them as the sprinter. Their edge is raw execution, speed, and controlling the terminal. Their model is built for fast, iterative work. On the other side, you have Anthropic. They're the marathon runner. Their edge is massive context and deep reasoning, enabling collaborative agent teams for long, complex projects.
So no matter how you slice it, the big takeaway is crystal clear. We are fundamentally moving away from single-shot chatbots. The new frontier is autonomous agents. Agents that can code, that can plan, and that can work for hours on their own, just like a human engineer.
And that leaves us with the one big and maybe a little scary question. This tech is moving at a breakneck pace. So when these agents get good enough to handle entire workflows from start to finish, how fast do our current engineering teams start to shrink? That's the question we all need to be thinking about.